All right. All right, there's 21 students here already. Fantastic. We'll just give your friends another maybe 3-4 minutes to join, guys, and then we'll start it off.
It says 22 waiting, huh?
Oh. Yep, they should be able to join in now.
Maybe they did not click the link, huh? I mean the YouTube channel, is it? We have 6 watching. 9.
Yeah, I mean they should be able to watch it from anywhere.
Okay. Yeah, I got some numbers here. Just now 22 waiting. Now we got 14 watching. Yeah, it's increasing. It's good.
Yep. Looks good indeed.
We got 19.
Yep. Nice steady. And then we'll just give it like another minute or so, and then we'll just get it started. I'm sure it's Friday. Everybody wants to.
Yeah. Understand. Okay, let's just give it another minute, and then you can run the video first.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right.
All right. All right, guys. Welcome to the Prosple Career Basics Workshop. We'll cover a few key things for you guys. Before anything gets kick-started, I'm just going to throw a video on so you guys have a better understanding of what Prosple does and who we are. And then we'll get the show on the road. All right, guys, that was just a video introducing Prosple and what we do. I'll pass the mic over to Prof. Nudge to get us kick-started, and then we'll get rolling.
Hello, Tarma. Can you hear me?
Yep, all good.
Yes, yes. All right. We are on, right? We are live.
Yep, we are live.
All right. Very good evening. Good afternoon to all the final year students of faculty, the Civil Engineering Technology faculty. First of all, congratulations on being the final year students. So you are the senior now, and you will be graduating soon. So congratulations, and then you will be going through your convocation, and of course looking for seeking for jobs, and that's the role of Tamo. That's the process. So again, I would like to thank you for your time this evening. So my name is Muhammad Najmuddin, Dr. Muhammad Najmuddin. I'm from the Graduate Employability Unit here in UniMap. And today we are very fortunate that we have Mr. Tarma from Prosple. Prosple is a company that is established in Australia, and they have presence here in Malaysia. And Mr. Tarma is actually the manager, country manager, I believe, for Singapore and for Malaysia. Right. So Prosple has signed an agreement with UniMap, an MOU, Memorandum of Understanding with UniMap, for us to look into the graduate employability of the universities. Okay, and when I say graduate employability, that is, how would this company Prosple can actually market our students or create visibility of our students to ensure that the prospect out there, the industries out there, they can actually access to all of you, the final year students or the students that are graduating. For this coming convocation, we have close to 3,800 students who are graduating, and of course, like I said, for the process, we want to ensure that UniMap students are the preferred students by the industry, or the student of choice for the industry. So they are out there, and I think Tarma will actually share not only the platform, but he's also going to share his experience, or as when he goes through the same process as all of you. When he graduated, how did he know that that's the career for him, or that's the best job. So this kind of thing. So you can get you can ask him openly. If you have any questions, or you have something that you want to you eagerly want to know what to do next, or what should I do, should I put this in my resume, or shouldn't I put this in my resume, what kind of company should I look for, how do I do some due diligence on the company, what is it that I need to look for, if my background is civil, my background is electronics, or my background is electrical engineering, so what is best for me. So all these things, I think, is open up through this session. So please take advantage of this session. And like I said, you need to make, for students of UniMap, you need to make yourself visible, and you need to market yourself out there. Even though UniMap has a graduate employability percentage of 93.9% for last cohort, but that doesn't mean that we can just sit there and wait for people to come to us and pick you as to become their employee. What it means by what translates 93.9% graduate employability shows that the program, the students that is following the program, they are relevant to the industries. That's what they are looking for. So that's why they are up for grabs, and it's up to 93.9%. However, getting a job is one thing, but making a job into a career is another thing. All right. So I think Tarma will go through this process. We'll go through this, and I hope all of you will enjoy this session. And please, once you have heard all this, get yourself into the platform, and ensure that if you're registered to it, then you are actually opening up yourself to the industries out there. And what's the beauty of this Prosple is actually you can actually look at some of the advantage of this Prosper platform. One, you will have visibility on the companies that are hiring. Secondly, they can also, once you register, if you are locking on to certain jobs, They can even give you alarm or give you an email telling you that this job is closing in 1 week's time or in 3 days time. So it gives you some indication for you to take action. So that's good. And thirdly, that this Prosper is also open up to multinational company, meaning that if you have the desire to not to look only for the local companies, you can also tap into the market of the multinational companies out there. There are companies in this platform that is from Australia, from Singapore. So yeah, once in a while you'll see all these companies from overseas coming in and hiring through this platform. But I'm not going to say much. So it's already. I know it's already evening. It's Friday. It's evening. So again, I thank you for your time, Tarma. I thank you for your time, all the students. Enjoy, and I would like to hand it over to Mr. Tarma. And before I forget, your attendance link will be shared at the end of this session. Okay, and like Tarma said, since that this is on YouTube live, you can always ask questions in the comment area. Right, Tarma?
Oh yes, yeah. Just on the side
Yeah,
there, guys. You guys can just chat it up and
chat.
ask me anything.
And they don't need to wait at the end of the session, right? They can always interrupt.
Yeah, let's keep it casual. More than anything, it should be an open dialogue. If you guys have any questions, just shoot it.
Okay, so I think that's all from me for the introduction. So I hand it over to Tarma.
All right. Thanks, Nash. Hi guys, welcome to the Prosper Career Basics seminar. We're going to cover a few key things today when it comes to how to look for a job, how you should look for a job, self-discovery, mainly all those things. So just a little introduction as to who Prosper is. Um, I I am Tharma. I'm from Prosper. Prosper is a graduate recruitment slash technology company from Australia. Now we specialize in a few things, and we work with a few different stakeholders. I.e., like we work with companies, and then we work with brilliant universities like UniMap. But our main focus is essentially you guys, and the reason we exist, why we do anything that we do, is to get graduates into the best possible fit job that you know they can get into. So finding a job and working a job and getting yourself into something, I 100% believe you guys can do that, no problem at all. But finding yourself into a career that's fit to your skill set, that is aligned with your principles, that is something that you actually want to do and you can see yourself doing in the long term, or at least enjoying for the first 2 or 3 years. That's not really the simplest thing to do, but it's something that can be done. So the big problem we see with graduates these days, and I wouldn't really say it's a problem, I just say it's more just a phenomenon that we see, is they tend to leave university, look for a new job. And we understand the situation. I was there as well. It's a lot of pressure, leaving university, looking for a job. Sometimes, you may see your friends have jobs already, or at least they have interviews lined up, and maybe some of you guys are just kind of chilling, you want to enjoy your time in university. Now you're getting into the process and you feel that external pressure. And you got internal pressure as well. You want to live up to your own expectations. Maybe you have responsibility, you have people to take care of. And then you just basically jump at any opportunity that comes your way. And that's no one's fault. Like everybody just needs something to start off with. But the issue is with the way that job descriptions and the way that jobs are pushed out these days, you guys don't really have the full context as to what working any job is actually like. So you're definitely on a disadvantaged side, right? Where you're just kind of taking anything that comes your way. It's extremely one-sided. So that's kind of where Prosper wants to fit in. We want to be the people that give you the information that you can use so that you can, you know, essentially find a job and an industry that is aligned with the things that you believe in and is aligned with your character and your skill set. And you go into these things fully aware of what the reality of these jobs are like. So you're not just going into a job because you're like, oh, yeah, I've heard about working at Petronas, and it's Petronas, so it must be good. But if you do end up working at Petronas, you would know what it's like to work there as a graduate. You would know what the job is like. You would know what other graduates are saying about Petronas, and then you'd be able to make an informed choice. You're not just taking anything that comes your way. You're selecting something based on the things that you know, and you're confident in your decision making process. So that's what Prosper is. That's our main mission. That's what we want to do. And what we're going to do today is, cover that in a second. So it's the Career Basics Workshop. We're going to talk about job searching and strategies. Just a little introduction. I'm Andrew. You can call me Tharma. I did a Bachelor in Economics Development Studies from SOAS London. I am one of the partnership slash country managers for Malaysia, Singapore. I dabble a bit with India as well. So I'm kind of all over the place. So my knowledge of markets are definitely varied, and I know what these companies are looking for when it comes to their graduates. More than that, what I want to say is just, I want to repeat that let's keep this casual, right, guys? If you guys have anything that you want to ask, by all means, just throw it up in the chat box. Say anything that you want to say, ask me anything you want to ask. At the end of the day, it's more important that your questions are answered and you guys leave this session, with confidence or with more knowledge and having the things that you weren't so sure about essentially answered rather than me just talking about these things. I can talk for ages. This is not the first time I have to talk about this. So, I can literally go on forever. So yeah, if you have any questions, please go ask me. Let's keep this as casual as possible, and let's keep this, knowledgeable than we were when we came in. So what we're going to cover today, just a few key things. Essentially, we'll work out, what job you're going to learn. How do we even start thinking about what kind of job we're actually going to like? So obviously, every job is different. Every industry is different, and that there's things and trade-offs and comparisons you're going to have to make about real life and also the things that you love. And that's how you're going to actually come to this decision. We're going to talk about the graduate landscape. What's it like out there for a graduate right now looking for a job. We're going to talk about what employers are looking for, and more importantly, how do you showcase things and show that you have the right skills so you can show them you have what they're looking for. Then the last two things we're going to cover is how we're going to get our foot in the door, how we're going to actually stand out and find these things. And the last thing is we're going to talk about thinking outside the box. And besides just looking at the obvious careers, how do we find all the other things that essentially exist out there? And then of course, I'll do a small little demo. I'll show you guys how the UniMap Prosple website works, what you should be looking at, how you can dabble and go through the whole thing and essentially use it to your advantage. So, what are we solving for today? What's the whole point of any of this? We're essentially looking for this little pink thing in the middle here. We're looking for a win. But what is a win when it comes to a job? So, you obviously, more than anything else, you want to know what you love. And I think when it comes to a job, what you love is pretty subjective. So, what you love can essentially be something that just makes you happy. It can be something that you believe in. It can be something that you feel that you're making change by doing. It could just be something that isn't so laborious in the long run, and you can just get up every morning and you can do it and you're proud of it. What you love is really subjective. And of course, what you love can also just mean you really love what you're doing, and that's good as well. More than that is you want to do something that you're good at, or at least something you can see yourself becoming good at. That's obviously going to help. One, it's going to help you develop a skill set and hone the skills that you're already good at. Two, it's going to help you prosper within that industry and show that you have excellence. And also, it's going to make you feel good, and that's really important, right? You want to feel good. You want those quick wins. You want to be able to see yourself doing well here, and the only way to do that is to make sure you're doing something that you can see yourself being good at or you're good at already. And also, last but not least, just like any job, you want something that pays well, right, guys? No point working a job that's covers the first two things and doesn't and pays you basically nothing. We all do work a job at the end of the day to get paid. Like, that is the bottom line. No one's gonna wake up every morning and go work a job for free, unless of course at the end of it you're gonna get like some insane thing. But at the end of the day, you want something that pays well. And you can see if you get any one of just the two, it kind of doesn't really work out. When it comes to doing what you love and what pays well, that's usually an opportunity that you create for yourself. You start your own company, you do your own thing, and that's usually how you find that little niche. Rarely you actually get this from another company, or you may get it to some extent, but there's no way you're going to get it, full on. If you do what you're good at and what pays well, you're going to end up being bored. And you may think, oh, that's the problem that I don't mind having. But trust me, when it comes to working a job, if you do something that's boring, you're going to start to hate it. You're not going to be challenged. You're going to get up every morning. You're going to, basically dread it because it's just mind numbing. Um, And also, if you do what you're good at and what you love, you're going to be happy, but you're not going to be making a lot of money. And that's back to square one. You might as well just go to literally anything else. So we got to look for something that kind of covers all three, or definitely covers all three, so we get that nice little win in the middle. How do we get that win? How do we start to find out what these things are? It's essentially this, right? It's about working out what you're going to love, and how we do that is by being self-aware. How do we be self-aware? It's obviously by looking inwards and talking to ourselves, having these tough conversations about what we love and what we don't love. And these are just a few key things that we feel you should definitely think about when it comes to looking for a job. So the first thing you want to look at is, do I want to be challenged? I want to go to a job where every day it's a new thing, it's a new problem that I have to solve. Or do you want to be comfortable, right? You want to go into a job where you know what to expect, everything's kind of laid out in front of you. Not, maybe every once in a while you're gonna have to deal with a curveball, but more often than not, it's just comfortable, right? You go in, you clock in, you do the things you're supposed to do, you leave. Maybe you want something that's a little bit in the middle here, and that really applies to everything that I'm talking about here. You may lean to one or the other a bit more, but a lot of people generally seem to find themselves more in the middle, for when it comes to some of the specific things I'm talking about today. So besides being comfortable and challenged, do you want to be managed? Do you want a manager that's constantly with you, guiding you, showing you what to do, constantly checking up on you? Or do you want to be autonomous? Do you want here's the task, forth, go do it, complete it, here's the task and the deadline, go do it on your own, come back when it's done. As long as it's done within the time, that's all good. Nobody really cares, nobody's really checking up on you. Um, do you want to work from a HQ? Do you want to go to an office every day? And well, with the way the world's shaping up, this is actually seeming like it's not so common. I mean, living in KL, I can see more and more people kind of going back to the office because their bosses want them to go back to the office. But I see the general sentiment is lots of people actually kind of preferred working from home. So I think as jobs develop, you're going to see more of hybrid models being implemented. But I do think working in an office, it's an experience that everyone should have. It's really different from working alone in your home. It's really different from working remotely. Um, Give it a shot, because you're only going to know if you like it or you don't like it if you actually do it for like 3, 4, 5 months, whatever. So take the opportunity. Don't just like turn the opportunity down because it's not there. But again, it's a trade-off, right? You're gonna have to know: do you like working from the office or do you like working remotely? So when I started working, obviously it was pre-COVID, so everybody had to go to an office, and it's clock in, get on the train, make sure you're in by 9, leave at 6:37, 8, whatever when your work's done. Rinse and repeat 5 days a week. And when I got a taste of working remotely, that's when I knew I loved working remotely. I love the freedom. I love being able to essentially move my office to wherever I want to be. If I feel like working from a beach, I go work from a beach. If I feel I want to go work with my friends, I go work with my friends. Completely fine, no strings attached. As long as I have an internet connection, I can get my work done. Now, I do seem to find myself working from home, which is where I am right now, more than anything else. But that's because I'm comfortable here. It's my office. I have my little monitor in front of me, makes my life easier. But the freedom is something that is just uncomparable. I could technically go on holiday right now while I'm still at work, and no one will say no, because as long as I have an internet connection and I'm there for my meetings and I'm doing my work, I'm in the office. So yeah, you're gonna have to see what trade-off, whether you like it, whether you're not. And I may have made it sound really nice, but trust me, I know tons of people that hate working from home. They think it's extremely distracting. They think it's hard to get work done. So yeah, you're gonna have to see what these experiences are like and make that trade-off. Would you rather be a specialist? Do you want something, where you really hone in on that skill and become the best at it, or you become really good at it, you become well known within that sphere of skills? Or do you want to be a generalist, do something that's broad and a skill set that can be applied to many industry? Both not the easiest thing to do, but when it comes to work, you're going to reach that crossroad, and you're going to have to make the decision as to what you want to do and what type of work you want to do. You guys are doing engineers, so being a specialist is definitely more in the cards for you than someone like me who did econs. Um, but yeah, you still have to make the decision, whether you want to or whether you don't want to do it. Do you want to be a lone wolf or do you want to be a team player? Now, I think more than anything I've talked about today, this is probably something most people already know. And it basically is like, did you like any of the group projects at university? If you did, congrats. You're probably working in a team. If you didn't, you're probably more inclined to working in a lone scenario. But you know what? You never know. Maybe you're gonna find some team members down the road in another office where everything jives and it's gonna be amazing. So anything can happen. This opinion can change. But right now, out the gate, you kind of have a preference already. That being said, I think there's no such thing as being a lone wolf. Lone wolf. Once you're working, at the least, you're at least gonna have a manager that you have to report to, and that technically makes you a team already, because they're gonna give you work, you're gonna get it done, you're gonna talk to each other. But obviously, being in a team means you got to complete tasks together, and being a lone wolf means you're just gonna get the task and you get to do it on your own time. So figure out what you like and see what environment's going to help you prosper in, where you can be your best self. And that's the easiest way to make any one of these decisions. Last two things: do you like being analytical? Do you want to analyze these things that come into your office every day, critically think about these things extremely hard? Or do you want to be creative? Also a form of critical thinking, but definitely more broad, say more fun. But every person has their own way of how they like to deal with things, and it's what you like more. The last thing, and this is actually really important: do you want the financial reward? Do you want to be making that bank, or do you want to make a social impact? Do you want to make a change every day? Do you want to go into the office and you're impacting all these people? Sadly, I wouldn't say there are tons of jobs that give you both. Usually, you're kind of trading off one for the other to some extent. Of course, to everyone, you have your own preference as to how much change, money, whatever you want to make. So think about this, deeply. Think about all these things deeply, and usually this should be enough to give you a pretty good sense of where you stand and what kind of jobs you want. And it's going to make applying for jobs a lot easier, especially applying for jobs that are going to help you prosper in a lot easier. There's a free online personality test. I'm going to drop this link right now in the. Oh no! I'm going to drop this link right now in the chat box, and you guys can get to this in free time. And you can check it out. And like I said, it all starts with you, right? You're going to have to learn what you like, what you dislike. You have to know yourself well before you can go and put yourself out in the world, because that's the only way that you're going to be able to do the things that you love and do the things that mean the most to you, and also find yourself in environments where you can perform and be the best version of yourself. That's really it, right? A lot of people may tell you like, oh, okay, you're studying really hard, you're going to be this thing, go forth and do it. But one thing you got to know about work is, A, skills are extremely transferable. You can take your skills from anywhere and do anything. I'm a really good example. I did economics. It's very math based, it's very analytical, and it's very, when I left university, I was like, oh, okay, I want to work at Bank Negara, I want to be an economist, I want to do policy. But you kind of realize, A, well, at least from in my case, those jobs were pretty fine in between. It was pretty scarce in terms of opportunity. And two, when you work those jobs, as especially as a beginner, as a graduate, it kind of didn't cover a lot of the bases that I wanted. The pay wasn't that amazing, and the environment was really what I was looking for. So you pivot and you're like, how can I use the skills that I have in other industries? And that's how I started off in investment banking. Then I moved into management consultancy. And then now I find myself here in Prosple, where furthest thing from economics as it could be, but I still use the same skills that I technically have, just in different ways. And I may use some skills more than other skills. I'm definitely not doing math every day, and I'm definitely not doing policy every day. But those same critical thinking skills I would have used to do those things, I use it here, just in different ways. And the only way I knew I could do that, and the only way I was confident applying for this job, is because I looked at this list. Essentially, I knew all these things. I knew what I liked. I knew what I disliked. And it was easy for me to make a decision and apply for jobs, because I could just read the job description and be like, yes, this job's going to be fine for me. I think I'll be fine here. At least I know I could go for the interview and I could, do a decent enough job. And that's a start. That's really all it is. Now that we've covered all this, let's set the scene. What's it like out there for you guys right now? Let's talk about two main things. One, this graph is based in Australia, but I want you to know that this trend is basically all around the world. It's pretty global. And that is the percentage of people aged 15 to 64 that are leaving with a bachelor's degree, or that have a bachelor's degree level or above in terms of their education. As we can see, from 1990, it was kind of right below the 10% mark, and it's just been a steady increase till the 2020. This is in Australia. I tell you, in somewhere like Malaysia, this graph is actually a lot steeper. It goes up a lot faster because there's a lot of emphasis in finishing high school, going to college, and going to university in countries like Malaysia. So the majority of adults within this age group that have a degree is a lot higher than you think it is. And more than that, not just more people are leaving or are going into the job sphere with a degree, these people are also leaving with higher grades than they were. So as you can see, this graph is also steadily increasing. The percentage of people awarded an A grade within US college degrees. And again, this is also global. We just use this so we can like hone it in, right? So you're not just competing with more people that have degrees, which obviously dilutes the meaning of your own degree when you're competing with other people. But also all these people are doing well in their degrees too, right? Or at least more people are doing well in their degrees than they ever were. The scene is simple, right? So we know the graduates are higher than ever, and we know the graduates are doing well are also higher than ever. But more than that is how many of these people are you actually competing with when you apply for every job, right? Right now, after surveying 105 of the leading Australian employers, we know that the average amount of people that you're going to be competing with is about 42 people. Now, there are definitely jobs where this number is lower, and there are definitely jobs where this number is a lot higher as well. I've seen jobs like 2, 3, 400 applicants, and only like 3 or 4 or 5 people get the job. But at the end of the day, what you got to keep in mind is at any given time, you're generally going to be competing with about 41 other people. And that's not a little people, right? I'm sure you guys kind of have a good idea what 41 people look like. It's probably what your class in high school looked like. It's probably what a small-ish lecture looks like. It's 41 people is not a small number of people. And these are also 41 people that have degrees more often than not and did well in their degree as well. So how do we stand out? How do we make ourselves different from these other 41 people and show that we have the skills to pay the bills, that we are the candidate that you should be picking essentially from these people? Essentially, it's this, right? You got to show what employers are looking for. But what are employers looking for? Let's dissect this for a second, yeah, guys. Let me make my, let's change this so yeah, there we go. So what are employers looking for? What are the skills that employers want to see you have, and how do you stick out as a candidate? Number one, communication skills. 87% of employers assess this and say it's extremely important. 13% assess it and say it's quite important, but every single employer is going to test you on your communication skills. Are you good at communicating? Are you good at presenting your ideas? Are you confident at defending your ideas? Can you speak to upper management confidently? You know, and are you clear, right? Do the people that are listening to the things that you say, do they understand what you're saying? Can you galvanize these people? That's something that you have to keep in mind. Being a good communicator is such a strong skill. And let me tell you something. It's the only skill where everyone says it's the least quite important. That's a spoiler to everything I'm going to bring up today. After communication skills, it's teamwork. 80% say it's quite important. 40% say it's sorry, 80% say it's very important. 40% say it's important, and 3% say it's not that important. But again, every single person is going to assess you on this. They want to know can you work well in a team, and that's what I was saying just now, right? If you work in a generally you do end up working in a team. Most offices give you like put you in a team, even if the work you do is solo. You're still going to be at least sitting in a desk, maybe in an area with like 4, 5, 6 people, all you're kind of doing the same tasks. That's a team already. Even if you work with one other guy, that's a team. Even if you report to just one manager, that's a team. And being able to prosper in teams, being able to you know mold yourself so that you can help the team be better and that you're not hampering progress, that's an extremely strong skill that you want to be able you can show. After that, it's interpersonal skills. How do we present ourselves? How are we like talking to one another? What's our tone like? You know, the small things that it make you a pleasant person to be around. 73% say it's very important, 25% say it's quite important, and 2% say it's not that important. But again, as I said before, everyone's testing you on this. They want to know how do you handle yourself, how do you carry yourself. Oop, spoiler. The next skill is resilience. And this is essentially, if I give you a task, you know, can you get through it? Are you strong enough to handle a bad time? If it's not something that you're so strong at, are you able to look for these solutions and come out of it, with an answer at least, or at least with a solution to get the answer? Are you going to be turned away by a hard time? Or are you going to keep pushing through? 49% say it's very important. 39% say it's quite important. 2% say it's not that important. 10% don't even assess you on it. So this is the start, right? This is the start of the skills where some employers don't even assess you on. But it generally we can see from this trend, it's still the fourth top skill that employers are looking for, because if you are resilient, you're gonna get it done. That's essentially what it means, right? And more often than not, that's such an important skill to have, guys. Whether you like it or not, whether the task is something that you appreciate or you think you can do, If someone gives it to you and you take the effort to make sure that it's done to the best of your ability, be it hard or not, and you can get through it, that's such a strong skill to have. Let's breeze through the rest of this pretty quickly, right? Understanding the organization. Now, uh, keep this in mind. It's something I'm going to bring up later as well. But as you can see, 30% say it's quite important, 15% say it's 30% say it's very important. Sorry. 51% say it's quite important, 60% say it's not that important, and 3% don't even assess you. But understanding your organization is so key, guys. If you understand what you're doing, what your company is, and what's the function of them being there, already you can function in the environment so much better than other people. A lot of graduates these days think that, okay, I got the interview, that's it. I just got to go in there and prove that I am, the best. But that's really not the case, right? You A lot of the times you're going to get questioned, and they're going to ask you, do you understand what we do? Do you understand why we're here? Do you understand why we're successful, or what do you think makes us successful? Understanding your organization is such an important skill because it doesn't just show that you have the initiative and you took the time to do the homework, to know what you're going into. You're not just jumping into things blindly. It just shows that you care, and that you're taking the effort to do things meaningfully. And that's just that's a skill that it's hard to teach, but it's really strong to have. Self-management. How do we manage ourselves? If I give you a task, um how you're going to break it down, and how you're going to essentially make sure all these things are done. Can you prioritize, if you have multiple different tasks, and based on knowing what's important, what's not important, do you know what to prioritize, and can you do it on your own? If your manager's not there, are you able to handle yourself? That's self-management. 30% say it's very important. 44% say it's quite important. 11, and it's tied 11 between not important and not assessed. Being a strong self-manager means you can do work independently, and being able to do work independently is extremely strong because that's going to give you more opportunity to do more harder tasks, and it's a good way to build up trust. If you self-manage well and you deliver on things, whether people are breathing on your neck or not, it's gonna look good on you, and it's gonna give you more opportunity to do other things because people will be like, oh yeah, this person's a high trust person. They self-manage really well. They can get the job done whether there's someone there or not. So let's give them this task, and you're gonna get that freedom. And that's really what every level of every job is. Essentially, the higher you go up in a company, the more freedom you have. So you want to get that trust built early. You want to show that you can manage yourself really early, so that you can, essentially show them that you have this really important skill. Besides self-management, it's engagement enterprise. That's an extension of resilience, guys. Uh, you know, are you gonna see the task that's not assigned to you, that you can handle, and are you gonna do it? Are you gonna see the task that you can help with, that other people are doing? Are you gonna contribute to make sure it's done better? And it's basically, are you acting in the best interest of your company? Do you have the initiative to do it? Are you enterprising enough to step in, whether people tell you or not, to complete these tasks? Such I'm sure I've said it a lot already, but this is something that you can't really teach someone this. It's really whether you care or not, and this is why finding a job that's fit for you is so important, right? If you care for something, you're gonna put that initiative automatically. You're gonna be able to do these things whether people tell you or not because you care, and you care because you feel like you belong in this environment. A lot of the time people don't have the initiative because they're scared. It's not that they don't really have it. It's just hard to prove that you have it when you're afraid if you're going to make a mistake and it's going to make things worse. So everything kind of fits into it one another, but again, initial enterprise, really important skill. Emotional intelligence. Now this is EQ. It's like IQ but for your emotions. 35% say it's very important, 40% say it's quite important, 5% is not that important, 50% don't test. But let me tell you something about emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence doesn't just make you a better candidate, it makes you a better person, makes you a better friend. If you're like, okay, what is emotional intelligence? It's simple, right? Do you know what to say at the right time? When can you read the room well? Do you know when someone is feeling good or feeling bad? And do you know when is the appropriate time to say certain things? And in a business setting, it's really applied to sales. Do you know when to bring certain things up? Do you know when to push for certain things? Do you know when to keep certain things in your pocket? When you're in negotiation, do you know when to apply the right tactics? Emotional intelligence, being able to read it, sense it, it's worth its weight in gold, guys. Being a high EQ person just makes you a pleasant person to be around. It's coupled with interpersonal skills, and more people are wanting to go into business with you, more colleagues are going to want to work with you, more bosses are going to look more highly upon you because you have this skill. And it's something that you should never take for granted. Don't think, okay, I'm a really good mathematician. That's all I need to prosper in whatever industry. Working is so much more than just being the thing you have to do. It's all these little things that come together. It's about being pleasant to be around, and you really make an impact anywhere that you're at. Planning and organizing, we're starting to reach the skills where, it, the numbers in terms of people that say it's not really assessed are kind of increasing, and the numbers of people that say it's very important is decreasing. But planning and organizing, for me, it's very subjective. It's very personal. I feel like everybody plans and organizes in a different way. I'm sure we've all heard this term organized mess, where, it looks messy, but whoever did it, they know exactly where things are. So when it comes to being planned and organized, at the end of the day, it's one thing, right? Can you get the task done when it's given to you? Can you plan and prioritize? But more than that, it's also, is your work done in such a way where if you're not there, can someone else step in and look at your work and jump in and do it without you being there? That's the benefit of being organized, right? People know where things are. People can just jump into where you left out, and they can handle it, so you don't get disturbed as well. But also, it just makes you efficient, and that's why it's an important skill to have. Being a leader, now being a leader, I think in a work setting is different, because more than anything, it actually just kind of shows people how to promote you, like what road you want to go in. Do you eventually end up putting this person in a position where they lead a team because they have those leadership qualities, or do we just put them in essentially task, you guys are task completion, right? You're really good at the thing that you do, and you want to go to the highest level possible for a doer. You want to do. So we're going to promote you, and we're going to push you into that path, right? Less people tend to test you on this, and 90% say it's not very important. 15% say they don't even assess, because it's hard to assess leadership. I think that's something you show all the time. Tons of people in the beginning where they said that, oh yeah, we're not really leaders, but as they do the job, as they do those leadership qualities shine automatically. And it's just it's just an extension of caring, being responsible, and a bunch of other things. So that's what a leadership quality is. As you can see, it's quite down the list because it's hard to test. That's essentially the bottom line here. It's hard to test, what a leader is, and do you have it in the beginning, because you're gonna have to show it. That's really one of those things where you have to walk the walk. You can't talk the talk. Commercial awareness, this is an extension of understanding the organization. Do you understand the environment that these companies operate in? Do you understand their competitors? Do you understand what gives them that competitive edge, or what makes them less appealing than their competitors? If you understand these things deeply, you are an asset to the company, because you're going to be able to contribute in an extremely meaningful way. Because you don't just understand the work that you're doing and the company you work for, you understand all the little stakeholders that affect this company, and why it is the way it is, and how we can improve in certain ways. It shows that the bigger picture, that you're not just siloed into this, oh yeah, this is what we do and this is what we have to complete. You can look at it from a large aspect and go like, these are the things that we have to be better at so that we can prosper within this industry. That's commercial awareness. Last few things to cover, guys. One is technology. I don't think it's really a problem for anyone that's on this call right now. We all are graduating this year, so definitely well within Gen Z guys, born around technology. I'm pretty sure about that. So shouldn't be an issue. I'm sure you've used computers, handphones, you've been around the internet your whole life. But it's something that's good to have, right? Showing employers that you can use the whole Microsoft Office suite, Excel, PowerPoint, Word efficiently. That if you can code, that's an extremely high advantage. There's so many more opportunities for you out there right now with the way the world is developing, especially with things like Web3 that are becoming more and more popular. You can make lots of money just being a developer on like an NFT project, and you have to show that you have the skills. Being able to design, being able to Google properly and use the internet efficiently. These are all things that are extremely highly important skills. Being technologically competent and savvy, and it's something that if you're not so strong in, you still have lots of time before you have to start working. So let's get on it. Let's try and get better at this. Something that's an easy, quick win for y'all. Relevant work experience. 8% say it's very important. 40% say it's quite important, but 37% say it's not that important, and 50% don't even assess you on it because it's hard. Having relevant work experience is actually more of a privilege than anything else, because it's hard to have the relevant work experience, especially when you're in university and you're trying to juggle doing a degree well. So don't treat yourself too hard if you like haven't had an internship, or you haven't done something that's relevant within whatever sphere of whatever industry you're going to work for. Don't be afraid, apply for the jobs anyway, because as long as you prove that you have all these other skills, you're pretty much in the running just as much as someone that's done five relevant internships. Just because you have an internship, it doesn't mean that you are the candidate. And more companies are realizing, right? More than half of the companies don't even like say it's not very important, or don't even assess, because it's not linked to how good you're going to be as a candidate, right? All these other skills are way more important than that. So don't let not having any relevant work experience discourage you. When I was a graduate, guys, I was applying for jobs that said need 3 to 5 years of work experience. I apply anyway because I look at it and I'll be like, I can do this. I don't need the work experience to know I can do this. I know I can do this. And it's because I was very, critical of myself. I knew what I wanted. I already made those trade-offs, and I knew what I liked and disliked. So, do the personality test, remember the trade-offs I talked about in the beginning. When this is done, you can go to YouTube and you can go back to that slide and you can look at it again, because it's going to be uploaded there. And really think about it deeply. Knowing yourself is your biggest asset. Now, the last thing, guys, university grades. That's the last thing that companies look at. 11% says very important. 36% is quite important. 31% is not very important, and 22% don't even assess it. 53% of the market now think it's not important or don't even assess you on your university grades, because they're just like, it is what it is. Going to university is a whole other thing. Graduating is a whole other thing. Getting a good grade is a whole other thing. Getting a degree for university has its own advantages. It's also a way to show that you have all these skills. You have initiative, you have self-management, you can plan, you have initiative, you're resilient, you can work in teams, you can communicate, because doing a degree requires you to have all these skills. But if you have a bunch of other things that show you have this as well, it's pretty much as good. It gives you just as much of a shot. So don't be discouraged if your results aren't what you want them to be. Apply. Maybe, if it's not as good, and sometimes they ask you about it, that's fine. Just have an answer. Like, I didn't do as well as I wanted to do for X reasons. I was busy, I was working, I was involved in a club. It could be any number of reasons. Everyone lives a different life, everyone's circumstances are different. So don't let results discourage you. Don't let relevant work experience stop you from not applying. Go for anything that essentially is your heart's desire. If you feel like this is what you want to work at, if you feel like this is the industry, this is the company, apply. Send in 10 applications. Who cares? Do what you feel is best for you. That's really the best advice you can give. Now, after all of that, looking at all this, I would like to say that you guys aren't really scared by this anymore. It doesn't matter that more people get degrees, and it doesn't matter that more people are getting A's in their degrees. It's the last thing people are looking at. So you got to make sure that we improve all other things, and that's going to make you a stronger candidate than anything else. And remember, keep that in mind. You know, being a good communicator, having high emotional intelligence, being resilient, you want to work in a team. You're a shoe in already. You know. Now we've talked about what they're looking for. What are the skills that candidates are missing? What we can see is this: out of all the skills that we talked about, when we talk to people that are actually interviewing graduates, these are the skills that they highlight more often than not that graduates seem to be missing. Nudge is a good question. How do we overcome being nervous in an interview? Some feeling nervous suppresses the communication ability. A few tips. Now, I think one we have to know is that the first few interviews you go for are probably not going to be that great, and that's a given. I don't think anybody can ace these interviews from the get-go. You may be able to do better than other candidates, but usually it's luck more than anything else. Maybe the questions were things that you knew of already, or maybe you just so happen to go into this environment and you fall into a groove, and you just answer everything. But I think the first thing you have to know is that one, no one's going to call you for an interview if they don't think you have the skills already. So you should be confident that you are here for a reason. They're not just giving you they're not just calling you in to make fun of you. They're not just calling you in to see whether you have it. They probably already have a relative belief that you're going to do well in this job. That's why they call you in for the interview. So having that self confidence is so important. You have to feed yourself the confidence, whether it's real or not. And that's the best way to overcome any nervousness. The term fake it till you make it comes to mind. and it's so important, right? You got to be able to tell yourself that you can do this, and even if you don't really believe it, lie to yourself. Tell yourself, yes, it doesn't matter. I've seen the JD. I know what this company is like. I'm passionate about these things, and that's good enough. That's good enough for me to believe that I can excel in any of this. It doesn't matter what anyone else has. And the moment you're confident, you have the communication ability. It doesn't even matter if your English isn't that good or you're not so fluent in whatever language they need you to be in. If you're confident in yourself and you believe that you can do whatever job that you applied for, feed that confidence to yourself, and that's going to be the best way to overcome any nervousness and give you the best ability to communicate those ideas coherently and clearly. So great question, Prof. Thanks for asking. Now, what skills are candidates missing? What are the things that um, you know these interviews say that you need to show me that you have? Because these are what the other 41 people that that applied for the job with you are missing. Number one, understanding the organization. Uh, Prof said yes, being called for interviews is already an achievement that should keep your confidence level up. 100% agree. Couldn't agree more. Before I move on, let me just answer one more question. Chashmina, I'm so sorry if I say your name wrongly. In order for us to get a job, we are required to show the skills that they want, right? How do we confidently showcase it on our resume? I'm going to get to that in a second. So, good question. That's actually uh, pretty much foretelling of where this is going to end up. And I'll get to your question in a second, I promise. And I'll highlight your question again when I get there. So what skills are candidates missing? Let's breeze through this really quickly. Understanding the organization. Like I said before, a lot of people get the interview, walk in, think they're gods. That's really not the case. Make sure you do your homework. Make sure you read up on what is relevant. Make sure you read up, commercial awareness as well, right? So make sure you read up on competitors. Make sure you read up on the industry. Make sure you look up relevant news about these things, even if it's not what the company is applying for. These are all things that are going to give you an edge in this interview, right? Because they're going and they're going to ask you to critically think about certain things, right? A lot of interviews have case study aspect. And if you can ace the case study, that shows that you have a very deep understanding of this company and the industry, and it makes you an extremely strong candidate. So don't take this for granted. Don't just go to Google and read the first page. Don't just go to the company website and read the about us section. Really, really deep dive. Spend a good hour, 2 hours. Before an interview, the night before, doing your homework. Write some notes on a card. I think the best thing about right now is most interviews tend to be online, so you can have it up there on a screen on your phone, or if it's an interview in real life, just read up, make your notes, read up the day before, read up before you go into the interview room, and then again, just be confident in yourself. But doing the homework and knowing these things are so important, because showing that you have a deep understanding shows that you have a lot of other skills as well. It shows that you care. It shows that you're resilient. It shows that you take initiative and you're managed well. Uh, so yeah, don't take it for granted. Make sure you do your homework before you go into any interview. Relevant work experience is something they say are lacking. Even though they say lacking, you can see that a lot of companies don't even test for this. So it's something that's highlighted, but I would say it's something that's in past. If you have a good reason, you don't have work experience, be it that you are studying your focus degree, that's a really good reason already. That's good enough, because like I said, they're going to ask you a whole load of other questions. They're going to ask you a bunch of other things. They're going to talk about a lot of other skills. So what you lose on this end, make it up on this end. It's as simple as that. Resilience, emotional intelligence, leadership, being high EQ, knowing when to say what you have to say, being able to read your leagues, being resilient, not giving up easily. All these things are tied into being a leader. Leaders have high EQ. The best leaders in the world have an extremely high emotional intelligence. That's how you manage a team well. You know how to handle people. You know when to bring up certain things with them. I think a very common misconception is that leaders are harshly honest. Like they just tell you anything that comes to mind. That's really not the case. A good leader knows how to be honest with people. They know how to be critical with people. They know how to deliver critical sort of um, statements in a way that doesn't make people feel bad about themselves. And this is because they have high emotional intelligence. So remember that. Keep it in mind. Being resilient is also being a good leader. You're willing to get through it. You're willing to push it through it. You're willing to push yourself through it. Having initiative and enterprise, being able to go the extra mile, do the extra task, whether they come to you or not, contribute to the things that you know that you can contribute in. If you see something that's not so right and you feel like it could be done better, say your piece. But again, don't hurt people's feelings. Just be gentle about it. Just sort of, oh, I see this is being done this way. Maybe we could do it like this. That's a really good way to say things. Having good interpersonal skills, being nice to be around, carrying yourself in a respectful manner, respecting the people around you, being a good colleague, not just saying things that are crude, being able to self-manage, being able to be autonomous, being technologically savvy, being planned and organized, being able to work in a team well. These are all skills assessed, but they feel like candidates are lacking most. So let's take a conscious effort to make sure we show them we have these skills, and let's take a conscious effort in making sure that we hone in on these skills, and we do our homework, that we have the initiative, that we try to manage ourselves as best as we can. We try to be good people to be around. That's really kind of the summary for all these skills, right? If you cover all these bases, you're good to go. You can apply for any job that you want, I promise. Now, how do we show employers that we have all these skills? We talk about all these things, but how do I show them that we actually have it? Number one, obviously take a leadership role within a college, society, or sporting team. I think it's a quick, easy win. If you have been in any society, if you've taken on any leadership role, so it was her president, whatever, you're in the money, you're in the clear, because you have to have these skills to be in those roles. You can't just sit down there and do nothing. You actually have to be an active participant. And in order for your society to succeed, or your sporting team to succeed, you have to, you know, have all these skills. You may think, oh, what does being commercially aware have to do with being a sporting team? You got to know what your opponents are doing. That's being commercially aware. It's the same thing, right? It's just how you apply it to every different situation. Being casual, go work part time, go work at Starbucks, doing a temporary gig, doing freelance assignments. These are all ways to show that you have these skills. Contributing to university club society. If you didn't have the chance to be a leader, get a position, just being in those clubs and contributing, that already shows you have initiative. It shows that you're weak, that you have resilience, that you're willing to contribute regardless of not getting what maybe you feel like you deserved or not. It's a great way of showing that you have these skills. Taking a study abroad semester, not everybody's cup of tea, and not an opportunity that everyone gets. If you have it, grab it by the neck. If you don't have it, there's no worry at all. You can eat this, even something you don't have to do now. I want you guys to know there are lots of postgrad opportunities to study overseas, something like Chevron scholarship. You literally just have to, you can apply with work experience, and you can do your masters overseas, and the only criteria is you got to come back and work in Malaysia, which we were already planning on doing anyway. So that's an opportunity that's not locked into right now in your undergrad. You can come in at any given point in your life. Taking on roles in sporting organizations, and teams. Now, outside of university, there are tons of stuff. There's stuff like Rotaract. There's sporting teams outside of university. You can join speaking clubs, Toastmasters, improv. There are lots of societies and sporting teams outside of university. Go and take a role in any one of those things. If you feel like you're in third year and you kind of like missed your chance to do it in university, do it outside of university. It still shows that you have initiative. It still shows all these skills, as long as you're willing to do it outside of university. And it shows more than anything that you're resilient. Right? You didn't have the opportunity then, you're going to find the opportunity now. Have a unique hobby interest. You guys may think like, what does having a hobby have to do with any of the things that you talk up there? It's initiative. It's, being able to be planned and organized so they can indulge in hobby outside of, doing the things that you have to do. It's, self-management. It shows that you care about something and you're willing to delve into it deeply, that you've taken the time to hone in a skill that may be relevant or not. But having a unique hobby and interest is a great way to show that you have these skills, because it shows that you care, and it shows that you're willing to do things to a deep extent, right? Volunteering and fundraising, go help a charity, go see what's around you, go help the people around you. It shows that you're a person that has high emotional intelligence. It shows that you're a person that cares about the things that are around you and the people that are around you, that cares about their fellow human being. So definitely something that you should keep in mind, something you should try and do in your spare time. Launch a small business, start a website. That's something that you may think, oh, that's kind of hard, but and also, what does it have to do with anything of the above? Starting a business shows that it's something like a hobby, right? That you had this idea, you took the time to actually think about it deeply, to then put it in the works, to like launch it, put it out in the world. And let me tell you something, it doesn't have to be a business that succeeds. You don't have to make the next Microsoft to apply for a job at Petronas. Just having and taking the time to roll it out there and materialize it and try your best to push it out there, that's so good already. It's such a strong skill to have because a lot of people are scared to do these kind of things, and a lot of people are lazy to do these kind of things. But the fact that you even did it in the first place makes you such a strong candidate in the eyes of these people because it shows you have so much initiative and it shows that you have so much ability to, besides having a complete degree, you're like, oh, I'm going to try and do this other thing on the other hand. So good. Take a short course to get a micro credential. I'm sure you guys are wondering what are micro credentials. So when you go to LinkedIn and you're like, oh, prove to us you have this skill, or you can go to a website like Coursera, edX, Mobile University, they all have uh, you know, tests and courses of very specific small things that you can do. And if you do that, that's gonna they're gonna give you a cert. So it shows that, oh yeah. So it may not be like, oh, I have a degree in accounting, but it's like, oh, I have a little micro credential that says I'm very good at this one specific part of accounting. So that's a micro credential. And last but not least, take every opportunity to practice your public speaking, guys, and collaborate. So good. One, obviously, it shows that you work in a team and you can do well in the team. That's what collaborating is about. But being able to be a good public speaker, and just being able to speak, right? Communication, so important. It's the one single skill that's gotten me the most opportunity in my life because I've been able to be confident at presenting my ideas. Because I'm always the guy in the group that's like, yeah, I'll present, no problem. It's put me out there. It's made me more confident. It's given me the ability to not be afraid to talk to whoever I need to talk to. And it's gotten me jobs. It's given me promotions. It's showed me opportunity. It's helped me travel the world. So being a good communicator, taking the time to practice your public speaking, joining something like debate, doing something like Toastmasters, these are all things you can do outside of university, by the way. So it's not just tied to being in university. Such a strong and important skill. It's going to help you in your work life. It's going to help you in your personal life. It's just a good skill to have, hands down. Why do we do all these things? Because essentially it's this, right? One, it shows that you take on responsibility and it shows that you have initiative. It shows that you're an interesting person that has a depth of character. And that's so important, guys. Having character and having deep character that shows that you're more than just your degree, more than just the things that you're doing, more than the people you hang out with, that makes you a great person to be around, and that makes you an interesting person to be around. And that's essentially what working is, right? You're going to hire the most interesting candidate because they are probably the one that has the most to offer anyway. And at the end of the day, all these things, if you're wondering, how do I even know this? Essentially, just got to think, do I pass the airport test? And if you're like, what's the airport test? Think about this. You're sitting in the airport, you're waiting at the gate, you have a few hours before your flight goes on, you're waiting to board the plane, you see someone in front of you, they ramble for like the first 3 4 5 minutes. If it's uninteresting things that are superficial and unimportant, you're probably going to get up and go away. But if they end up being interesting people and they talk to you in a nice way and they talk about interesting things, you're going to sit down there and you're basically going to make a friend in the next 3 hours. You have a nice little companion for the next few moments of your life. So just think about it. Do I pass the airport test? Am I interesting enough that a stranger is going to want to chat with me for a few hours? That's essentially how you pass most interviews. Most interviewers use this, and you don't realize it or not when you're in an interview. They see, is this person just their resume? Are they just their degree, or are they more than that? Are they a deep character that knows all these things that's worldly? So take the time, read about things, outside of your degree, outside the things that you do. Be passionate about the things that you're interested in, and just make sure you're developing a deep character for yourself so that you can be an interesting person. Now, bring it all together. This addresses Tashmina's thing about how do we showcase the skills that we have on our resume. Hanif asked me a question as well. What should you do if the company did not reply or email? Call them. What if they did not answer the call? Now, I'll just answer this really quickly because there's no straightforward answer to this. If they don't reply your email, there's not really much you can do. That's actually the sad thing. That's the bottom line. When it comes to companies, that is kind of what the power dynamics is. They can just not reply you, which isn't a good thing. Like, don't think that, oh yeah, it's fine. It's not a good thing. They should respect you. They should reply you, at least tell you whether you got it or you didn't got it, or are you going to the next stage. Everyone has a life. Everyone has things that are going on, and you're only going to know how to plan your life if you know what's happening. If you have a direct line of communication to the recruiter, by all means shoot them a text. Ask them like, yo, what's up? It's been 3 weeks since we last interviewed or whatever. Do you have any updates? I have other things that are coming my way. Essentially, you want to tell, like, you got to make them aware that, look, this isn't the only thing that I'm doing. I have other things to do. I respect your company enough that I'm going to give you a heads up, and I'm interested in this position enough that I want to know about this so I can put other things on hold. But you got to tell me what's happening, because if you don't let me know, I'm going to move on. So you also got to put them in a position, right? Now, if you send them the text or the email and they still don't reply you, at that point just move on, and it's their loss. You clearly cared enough. You clearly took the initiative, and if you're not going to do that, you are not going to, just take the hint and just move on, go to other things. It was probably not meant to be in the first place. There's always something you got to keep in mind. Tashmina asked again, since the engineering field has multiple job scopes, without experiencing them, how do we know what we want and should choose? At the end of the day, you kind of have to experience them, kind of dabble and see what's out there. However, like I was saying in the beginning, yeah, you may have many job scopes, but every job scope is different. So if you cover all those things we talked about in the beginning, all those trade-offs, you can kind of see where you'll fit more than other things. So always apply for the things that you think you fit into more than the other things, and then work your way down the list, right? I don't think there's any harm in jumping jobs. I'm sure a lot of people out there will tell you, oh, you got to work for 6 months or 1 year. Look, that's why stuff like Prosper exists. We're trying to give you guys the ability to find a job where you can work 3, 4, 5 years straight from the get-go to build that career. But if you don't build that career, if you do end up in a job where 6 months or 1 year or 1.5 years down the line, it's just not for you, don't be afraid to look for something else and go apply and go find the thing that is going to be good for you. Because, like I said, you're going to wake up and do this thing every day for your entire life. You might as well do something that you love. Now, good question, Hanif and Tashmina. Thanks for asking. Love it that you guys are asking the questions. Just keep it going. Now, to answer the first question that Tashmina asked me about how do we showcase this on our resume, this is essentially the best resume format out there for anyone, for people that work for 10 years, the people that work for 1 year. Uh, you know, Name on top, handphone number, email, easy to contact you, know where you're at, know where you're based. This woman put Sydney. Short little summary, 3, 4 sentences, what you do, what you specialize in, what you're interested in, bang, 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 just so they have a little bit more of a idea of who you are. 10% of this is what you studied and where you studied. For example, my CV, I don't even talk about my high school. I literally just put my university. I don't even put what I did for undergrad. What I did in college was A levels. Don't even put that. It's just my university. It's just the modules I did that were basically it's most of my modules anyway. Like what I did in those 4 years there. How long was the university? What my grade was. Done. After that, guys, the next 90% of your CV is experience, work experience, intern experience, what sporting clubs you're in, what awards do you have, what languages do you speak, what skills do you have you received any award, any leadership position that you were in, high school or not. You can talk about high school here. Have you been in any publications? Have you helped publish anything? Have you written anything that has been published anywhere? All of that, talk about all of it in your CV, because like I said, that's how we prove that we're interesting people. That's how we prove that we have all these skills. That's how we prove that we've done all these things outside of our degree. Talk about those experiences. Don't be ashamed by anything. Talk about, even if you want like a yo-yo competition, talk about it. Like, oh, champ, runner up or whatever, yo-yo competition 2021, 2013, whatever. Talk about it. If you've been on a game show, put it on there. Like, there's nothing to be ashamed of on this CV, right? Obviously, the more you work, you're going to get more things, and this is going to dwindle down. You're going to put less about your hobbies, and you're going to put more about the things that you do, what work that you have done. Obviously, summarize it. The work that you have done. Talk about the key things you did in those work. What wins did you have? What things did you lead? What teams were you a part of? Always talk about that. Even if you worked as like a cashier, there's still things. You still had to manage people that came in. You had to handle money. I'm sure you had to, you know, count the amount of money in the cash register every time you checked out and stuff. It shows you're a high trustworthy person. There's always a way to frame everything that you do in a way that makes it sound great. So, write it out, start drafting your CV the moment you can. The first draft's going to be the worst draft, heads up. But, show it to your friends, show it to your family, show it to the people around you. And it's going to give you, and start drafting it, right? Second draft, third draft, fourth draft. By the sixth or the seventh draft, it's going to look pretty good. and you can start like passing it around. Start throwing it out there. See what the world has to offer for you. But this is the best CV format. That's how we showcase that we have all these skills that are outside of just our degree and what we did. So what's the timeline? This timeline is kind of Australian based, but I'll kind of fit it to you guys in Malaysia. So let's say you start working around like March next year, or even January, you never know. So then it'd be graduate job applications in Malaysia actually close in September, October. So you still have quite a bit of time. Some graduate jobs even close in November, so you're kind of okay. Some of them do kind of cater for international students that come in, so the timing can be kind of weird. But they also cater for Malaysian graduates, so don't worry about that. So assuming graduate applications close, then you want to, if you want to do any internship, now will be the time. You can still apply now because there are internships that are going to start in July, mid-July, end July, August even. So you still have time to apply for internships and try and get a spot if you want an internship. Yeah, that's when applications are. We covered that already. You can start drafting your CV now. That is 100%. I'd say start. If I were you guys, I would have started drafting my CV, as early as I could. The more I thought about it, essentially, because just the more time you have, the more time you can think deeply about it. So start doing it now. Just do it on the side, and do it with your friends. Show it to your lecturers. Go to the career center. Ask them their opinion on it. Get tips from your faculty members. That's how you make a strong CV. And obviously, all the time before this would have been used to do all the things we talked about, joining teams, doing sports, etc. But like I said, you can still do that now. You can still start a business now. You can still do a micro credential now. You can still get good at mastering some certain aspects of technology right now. You can still go and join sporting clubs outside of university right now. Road track recruits all throughout the year. So go and do those things. You can still do freelancing right now. Obviously, you can wait until your exams are over. You guys still have time. The one thing I really want to remind you guys is don't compare yourself to your friends. Don't compare yourself to other people you see out there doing all these other things that could be your age. It doesn't matter in the long run. Everybody's on their own path. Everybody does their own thing. Everybody's set on their own timeline. Like the universe has planned that out for you guys already. So just do what you do. As and when you're comfortable about doing it. Start when you can start. Just don't procrastinate these things. That's basically what we're trying to say here, right? Do it when you feel like you can start doing it, and the moment you have mood, just go on it, jump on the opportunity that comes. So we've talked about all these skills. We've talked about all the things that you have to showcase. Give me 1 second, guys. How do graduates even find their first employer? Before I move on, Saud, I hope I pronounced that correctly. Is there a chance if I apply for jobs or training, let's say in Australia, and got accepted, or I need first to build my experience, then try to apply there? Go for it. Like I said, there's nothing that should stop you from applying. If you feel like that's where you want to go, look at what comes up there and apply. You never know what you're gonna get unless you apply. So that's the thing, right? Obviously, if you apply for like 100 jobs and it's not really going your way, maybe that's a sign to like go do something or whatever. Or just grab an opportunity comes your way, do it, and then apply again. But at the end of the day, if you can prove that you have all those things that we talked about, you're pretty much a shoe in anyway. So don't be discouraged. If you want to apply, just apply. And I'll even show you how you can apply for Australian jobs using Prosple later now that you've brought it up. So how do we get our foot in the door? How do graduates find their first employer? The breakdown's generally like this. 46% of graduates find their first employer through networking, be it through their own network or talking to other people, but it's through networking, it's through the people they know or the people that know the people they know. 29% use job advertisements, 12% use university career services, and 30% is basically anything else. God knows what it is, but it's out there. You never know how, but it's there. But this is the general breakdown as to how you find your first employer. And what we can say is just developing a network gives you a serious advantage because that's how most people find their first job anyway, right? So how do we use networking to find a graduate job? What are the channels that work the best? Obviously, it's a direct employer approach where you just write to employers and see what they have to say, send in an email, do a cold call, whatever. Then there's friends and family. Talk to your parents, see what they have to say. Talk to your friends' parents. Talk to your friends even. You never know. Talk to the friends of your friends. Everybody's connected to the world in a different way. See what they have to say. Work contracts or work network. Working a part-time job, freelancing, internships. These are all ways to have built network. college faculty members and lecturers. Don't be afraid to ask your lecturers. I think that's one thing I realized amongst a lot of university students, where they're just segan, they're kind of nervous to go and talk to their lecturers and faculty members. These people are there to help you. They want to help you, but you have to extend your hand out, right? Being helped and helping is a two-way process. You got to extend your hand, and people got to grab it. So go out there, go ask the questions that you want to go ask, and you will get your answers. And there's no such thing as a dumb question, guys. Literally ask anything you want to ask. Go for career fairs and information sessions. So congrats, you're already doing that right now. Go for these information sessions, see what career fairs are out there. That's the best way to get face-to-face time. When I was a graduate, I thought I kind of knew like what a good CV looked like and stuff, because I had mentors guiding me and stuff. But when I went for a career session and I spoke very specifically to this woman in Shell, I remember it so vividly. And she was like, "Oh, you're a great candidate now that I'm talking to you. But if I saw your CV, I would have never given you the chance, because it's just not the type of CV I'm looking for." And so, you're only going to know this very specialized information if you go for these career sessions, if you go for these career fairs, because these people are usually more personal there, and they're willing to answer your questions. So what strategies can we use to network? Like I said, attend those career sessions, ask for introductions, go ask college alumni, go to LinkedIn, go see, you can search based on like what college you go to. You can see alumni, send them a message, ask them, yo, what's up? Where are you working as? Can you help pass my CV to X person? You never know, these people are going to help you. Old colleagues, go ask your friends of friends. Use LinkedIn. A lot of people only start using LinkedIn when they start working. That's such a disadvantage. Use LinkedIn right now. If you don't have a LinkedIn, go make an account after this session, or go make an account on Monday or over the weekend. You can make an account on your phone. You don't even have to you don't even have to log on and do it on your PC. There's an app, so it's super easy. But LinkedIn is such a strong tool in so many different ways when it comes to being able to do research and being able to network. So please make sure you make a LinkedIn account. Cold call and cold email, like I said, direct employer approach, give them a call, see the reception, see if you can talk to someone in recruitment. Say you're, potential, candidate, you want to work here, you want some clarifications on certain things. That's how you get your foot in the door, and that's how you make a lasting impression. Speaking of lasting impressions, you can walk in if they're nearby. By all means, just walk in, see if you can speak to anybody. And again, it's just about being remembered, right? If people remember you, they're going to want to help you. Simple as that. And what's the organic way to build your relationship and you build your networks? Leadership roles, always strong. Casual work, freelancing, contributing to your clubs. These are all the organic ways. We talked about this already, so I'm not going to harp on it now. But like I said, there's so many different ways to build a network. If you missed out on all the traditional ways, the organic ways, the internet's here. The internet is your friend. Make sure you leverage on the internet. You can find phone numbers on the internet. You can find emails on the internet. Use LinkedIn. It's usually the easiest way. Even if people block the ability to send them a message, you can just send them a friend request and you can send a little message. Hi, I'm looking for this, whatever. There's always a way to contact people. So use whatever you can to your ability. And people want to help. It's not just your lecturers that want to help you. It's not just the faculty members in your college that want to help you. Sorry, your university. People want to help, and if people can help, they will help. But you have to first show that you need that help or you're looking for the help. No one's gonna know. So that's the important thing to take away here. So now that we've talked about the network and what you should do, let's think outside the box for a second. What we do want to know is there's a short tail and there's a long tail. The short tail is this essentially, and then you can see the very long tail over here. The breakdown is simple. 80% of applications are being submitted to 20% of employers, guys. That is good and bad. Bad in the sense that all the top employers are basically getting everyone's freaking application, but good in the sense that there's literally 80% of employers left out there that's only getting 20% of the graduate applications. There's a whole ocean of companies that are looking for applicants and they're just not getting them. So you can be the person that does that. So it's just about how we look at this and how we make that breakdown and where we send our CV to that's going to have the most meaningful impact for us. you know if you get your CV into the hands of those people that aren't getting flooded with applications day in and day out, they're going to look at it, they're going to be more meaningful, you're going to get those callbacks, they're going to get feedback, they're going to want to talk to you, they're at least going to give you a shot. And when it comes to interviews, a good way to develop confidence is going for interviews. Go for as many interviews as you can, because only if you go for interviews are you going to get good at doing the whole interview section. And the best way to do that is just to apply for as many jobs as you can. Apply, 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 apply. Just send it out there. Especially in the beginning of your career, it's quantity more than quality. throw your CV to as many people as you can, see what opportunities you have. Like I said, the worst case is you go for all these interviews and nothing much happens, but you just become really good at getting interviews. So when you do get the opportunity that you really want, you're gonna nail it. And the best case is you have a ton of offers and you have lots of leverage. Like you can go to employers and be like, I have XXXXX offers. This is what they're saying. And it's just gonna give you more of an ability to fight for the things that you want and get the things that you want. And I'm sure you think, okay, cool, small employers, big employers, but why would you even want to consider working for a smaller employer? This is the breakdown. We'll use three main things: training, career progression, and experience. A large company, the training is extremely generic. It's usually done in huge groups, and the learning outcomes are also very generic. It's kind of like, oh, your office safety, cybersecurity. It's very general things. Smaller employers are going to give you one-on-one training. It's going to be tailored to your needs. They're going to hone in on the things they are not so good at, and they're going to try and train you on that. And it's going to help develop you as a person and as an employee and your skills much quicker. Career progression wise, with big companies, it's usually very structured. It's usually timeline based, or I've been here for X amount of time, so I'm going to get a promotion. So as long as you're doing good work and you've been there for a long time, you'll go up and up and up. But small employers will promote you the moment you're doing good work. I have seen people out of university that have gotten promotion until like manager in like 2 years just because they're working at a smaller company because they're doing good work. And obviously, promotion isn't just title, right? It's a lot of other things that come with it as well: pay, benefits, and even title helps, right? Because it means the next job you apply to, you already qualify for all these bigger jobs, even though you're at a younger age. And last but not least, the exposure and experience. At large employers, the projects are large and your exposure is limited to your department. And that's kind of not so cool, I would say, because you're kind of stuck just doing the things that your department's doing. But when you work for smaller employers, you get 360-degree view of the entire company. You get direct exposure to all your leadership, and you get direct exposure to everything that comes through those doors, right? You can ask all the questions you want to ask. You'll probably be part of every big project that comes in anyway. So that's going to be massive for your personal development. And the summary is smaller employers essentially getting thrown up in the deep end. It's going to be a struggle bus in the beginning, but it's going to be good for your development in the long run. And for larger employers, you're just a small cog in a big machine. Now there's benefits and there's benefits and negatives for both situations, and some people may prosper in some environments better than others, but it's about finding what you like, and the only way you're going to know is if you do it both. And right now, especially, like, statistically, getting into a big company is going to be a lot harder. So make sure you throw your CV out to all these smaller companies. See what they have to say. Go for the interviews. Get good at interviewing. Get those offer letters. See what's out there for you. And there's no harm in working for smaller companies. I know tons of people that have worked at a bunch of smaller companies, and then only at the end, maybe like 7, 8 years out of university, they're moving into like a mid-level, senior level-ish role at a bigger company. But it's pretty big already because the amount of experience they have is way more than people that have been working at big companies their whole life. So it's just, what's going to be best for you, what's going to be best for your development. That's really something you got to keep in mind. How do we find all these small employers that I was talking about? Well, obviously, you have the family and friends, work contacts, and networking channels. So use your network. Use something like LinkedIn. Like I said, you can filter by the amount of employer in every company. You can put the location. You can put the amount of employees that you want, 1 to 10, 11 to 50, and you can put the industries that you're looking for. Bam, LinkedIn is going to do the search for you. So that's going to be really easy. And you can also just use location-based services. You can type in a location and then an industry and then see what Google Maps has to say, and just send your CV into all these people, give them a call. And one of the last key things that I want to highlight is think outside the box, guys. I know you're engineers. I know you probably want to be engineers or you want to see what it's like, but you never know what opportunities are going to be out there. You don't know what engineering companies are going to be hiring, so you don't know what the landscape is essentially going to be like. It changes all the time. So what we have to keep in mind is this: 26% of companies are hiring from all areas of study. They don't care what you're studying. They just want you to apply for the job. If you fit the bill, if you have the skills, they're going to hire you. They don't care what you did in university. 15% hire from 6+ different areas of study. Again, it's pretty varied. 34% 2 to 5 different areas of study, and only 25%, 1/4 of all companies that are hiring graduates only hire from one area of study. And this is pretty specialized. We're talking about like doctors, hospitals and stuff like that. So most jobs generally you have a pretty decent shot at applying for. And you may not know how to do that, but I'll show you a little tool after this. Is going to help you find out how you can look for things outside of the things that you study, but are hiring for your degree. So know that as long as you're creative, you're gonna have a good shot. So what do we do right now? What are the next steps that we take? What's the summary of all the things that I talked about? Think deeply about the type of career you want. Have those conversations with yourself. Do the personality tests. Talk to the people around you. They know you as well as you think you know yourself. Talk to your lecturers. They've seen you grow since you came in from a first year until now. Talk to your parents. These are all things that are going to help you be able to think of yourself critically and deeply, and that's going to give you the ability to think about your career deeply. Do extracurricular activities, whether it's in uni or outside of university. Join whatever that comes your way. Start drafting your CV. Do it as soon as you can. Make a LinkedIn profile, guys. So important. It's going to be so strong when it comes to networking and just being discovered. Lots of recruiters literally just chill out on LinkedIn all day, and they just see who's posting, who's doing this, who's in what group, and you could just get a little message one day. Hi, we've seen your LinkedIn profile. We think you're a good fit for this. Why don't you apply? Really, it happens, and it happens way more often than you think. And last but not least, apply for internships. If you have the time, if you think you have the time and the opportunity, do it. Doesn't matter what year you're in. And the way we look at it at Prosple is try before you buy. See what it's like to work in this company without actually having to sign an employment contract and be tied down and have to give things like notice or whatever if you're not happy. And in Malaysia, especially, there's a very well established pipelines of interns getting jobs if you do your internship well. So you never know if the company that you like has an internship but not a job. Why don't you just apply for the internship and see how it works out? Now, before I move into questions, what I want to show you guys is the UniMap Prosper directory. So this is what we've built for you guys. It is the Unimap page. It is essentially, Prosper. We find all the jobs for you. We find all the things that are relevant for you guys, opportunities, etc., and we throw it all up here for you guys. So you go to unimap.prosper.com. The link's been going on down there. Hold on, let me just change that for a second. So it's just the link. That's the link, unimap.prosper.com. And like I said, we find all the jobs for you. All you have to do is go to this little search widget here. You got to tell me what you're looking for, whether it's an internship, part-time job, graduate job. So you can click graduate job, and then all you got to do is tell me what are you studying. So in this case, you guys are engineers. So let's see what jobs out there for engineers. And you just click the search button, guys. That's going to update the results. Sorry, my internet is not so great today. Bip bam boom, and it's going to give you every single job that's out there specifically for engineering or that are hiring engineers. So as you can see, the first one's actually at Ramsey Health for their graduate program. And then you got PwC Industry Explorer. This isn't a direct job that has to do with engineers, but they're hiring engineers. So we will ask the employers. They will tell us, okay, what are the jobs that these people are looking for, and what are the degrees they can apply for whatever job this is, right? Management associate at Top Glove, Shopee, Deloitte. These are all people that are hiring engineers. You can see out here. You can be very specific in terms of what type of engineering job you're looking for. We update this all the time, so every day it changes. More than that is you can also pick what country you want to work in. So I remember Saud, you asked about working in Australia, you can specifically filter to Australia by clicking that. You can go to New Zealand as well, India. We have jobs from everywhere, and by all means, send in those applications. And if you feel like, okay, I did engineering, but I don't want to work in engineering, go look at all the other industries that have something to do with this, right? Banking, management consulting. It's funny. Yesterday, I did this with another one of your faculties, and there was literally like 45 jobs for banking and finance specifically for engineers. So this changes every day. So, check every day, apply for whatever you want to apply for. We make it easy. You can just click, 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 and it'll filter to specifically what you want, where you want it, what kind of industry you want. And all these jobs are hiring for your degree. So you don't have to worry about it. You can just send it in. Prof asked the question, in Prosper platform, can we apply for more than one job at a time? You want to have higher probability of getting job? Exactly. Great question. You can apply for as many jobs as you want. There's no cap. You can make an account if you want. If you make the account, we'll send you jobs that we think are good for you. If not, by all means, you can just start clicking apply now and you can start applying for jobs, and you can apply for as many as you want. When I was a graduate, I was sending out like 30, minimum 30 to 35 applications a day for as many jobs. And you don't know what the hit rate is going to be, right? Sometimes I get like a bunch of emails back to me, sometimes I get none. And it doesn't matter, right? I'm just putting myself out there, I'm throwing myself out there. uh Funnily enough, some of the people I interviewed with that I didn't end up taking the job, they actually ended up being my clients down the road, and they knew who I was. They knew about what we talked about. When you go in for the meeting, they're like, oh, hi, how are you? It's great to see you're in a job now. Become friends with these people. And It's all because I put myself out there. Right? I was throwing my CV out there. I was going for as many interviews as I can. That's the best advice I can give you guys. Literally, don't cap it. Don't limit yourself to one, two, three jobs. Just throw, 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 throw. Apply for as many jobs as you want. Apply for as many companies as you want. Don't let anything stop you. Be it the JD or whatever. So what if it's 3 to 5 years? So what if you need this specific thing? If you think you can do it, you can do it. That's really all that really matters right now. On the Prosper website specifically, every company we try to do this. We have a little ranking, we have a little day in the life, so you guys can actually see what it's like to work there as a graduate. So if you click day in the life stories, it's going to show you guys the stories from the graduates that work there. This is the day in the life. Some of them have pictures, some of them don't. She has pictures, and it's literally a detailed. You can see what it's like. What's the day-to-day like for a graduate? For Deloitte's graduates, you can see they're in the office. For Shell graduates, some of them you can see they're on site. Some of them are in a factory. Some of them are also in the office. So it varies, but it shows you exactly what it's like. If you click reviews, guys, these are reviews from graduates that are currently working at this company right now. 102. First, obviously, we have the pro and cons. Very kind of basic, but we also go deep. What's the career prospects like? Do you like the culture? Is it diverse? Are you satisfied working there as a graduate? What's the office environment like? What's the salary like? I'm sure you guys are always very keen about that. Is it sustainable? What's the work hours? Do you have good work-life balance? And if you click learn more, we'll give you the responses. You can read specifically, what's it like to work there? What are they saying? Why do we even get a 7 out of 10? So that's what it's like. Just go to Prosper, filter out by your degree and what you're doing. All these things will pop out. You can click this and if you just click this little thing here, like the headline, it will bring you to where I was just now, which was here. Yeah, so it's super easy to use. You can filter it to what you're studying. You can filter it to what country you want to work in. You can filter it to what industry that you're studying at. So use it to your advantage. Don't let anything stop you. Apply for as many jobs as you want. Like I said, UniMap.prosple.com. Throw out graduate job, throw out what you're studying. All you gotta do is click the search bar and then it says apply, apply, apply. We make it super easy. We get it for you. So we'll find the jobs for you guys. It's just your job to check it every day and apply. That's all you gotta do. I'm gonna throw up your attendance link now. Obviously, I can't access it. I'm not a UniMap student. And yeah, let's move into questions. Let me just I'm gonna put the link in the comments now, guys, so you guys can access it here. There you go. And yeah, let's move into questions.
Hello, everyone. I'm back. Yes, true enough. I think I really support what Tarma is saying, how he's sharing his experience. I want to also emphasize that the competition is very high out there, right? Okay, so of course you need to get yourself the visibility. So you need to show your determination. That's one more thing, right? So you need to show that you are determined to get the job. By just now Tarma was saying that you want to get your 1 foot out there. Sometimes you just make a call, asking them, the interview has been done for how many days, 3 weeks ago. I want to know what's the outcome and so on. So that shows determination, and determination also means that you can't be you can send to as many applications as you want, as possible, and let's see what's the feedback from out there. And one more thing, during an interview, sometimes when I conduct one, I see that sometimes there's a lack of the research or the studies made to that particular company or that particular post that you're applying. So, like my time, in the 80s, in the 90s, when I was applying for jobs, those days, is for us to do research. We don't have Mr. Google, we don't have Professor Google at that time. So when you want to do research, you need to open up the newspaper, see what this company is all about, or you go to the library, to look at what is this company all about, or what if this is the post. Some of the posts has very funny names, right? You can not only just engineering, but analyst in certain thing, engineering and in this and that. So you have to go down and find out what is this all about. And if you know the company, what they are doing, if you know that, oh, this company has branches in other countries and so on, then that actually builds up the case. When you say that, oh, if I want to go for this particular post, then I can how you can contribute, because you know the structure of the company, you know how the what are the divisions in that company. Even though sometimes it says, like just now, Tarma was saying that it is a business or accounting company, but if you go deeper, they are hiring engineers. So they are also doing maybe some engineering analysis or engineering stuff, even though the company is per se they are accounting company, right? So you need to go to do the studies, and so that that and don't limit yourself that it is just an engineering company that will have engineering posts, but there's also companies that is out, not the engineering per se, but they're searching or they're hiring engineers. That's all from me, Tarma.
All right. Yeah, thank you. 100% agree with what Prof was saying. Completely aligned with what we're talking about. I will give you guys just, if you guys have any questions, it's been up there for a little bit already. So I'm going to say answered most of your questions, hopefully. I'll still give you guys another 4 minutes, and then we can end at 6:40 and give you guys 20 minutes back to your Friday. And we can all have a start our weekends a little bit earlier. But yeah, that's kind of it in terms of the presentation. It's mainly just, do you guys have any questions now? Is there anything I can help you answer that's going to help make your process as someone that's looking for a graduate job easier? Yeah. If you guys have any questions that maybe you felt you didn't want to ask here, you can find me on LinkedIn at Tarendra Wemmel. I will put that there. And yeah, just send me a message on LinkedIn. Ask me a question there. Thank you all for listening. Yeah, let me just give you guys the link. Nice catch, Prof. So that is the link to my LinkedIn. You can send me a message there. No problem. You don't have to add me. It's there's no barrier. You can just shoot me a message. So if you guys have any questions down the line that you want to ask me, maybe you're applying for jobs later on, please, by all means. Looks like everyone's kind of had their questions answered. So I guess we're gonna end it here. Have a great weekend, guys. Thanks so much for listening. It's been a pleasure. Have a good one. Bye, guys.